Hello everyone, my name is Chrissy and welcome to my channel. This video is to go over my TBR for Fantasyathon. Fantasyathon is a readathon that was the brainchild of Maddie from the Book Pusher. It goes on from April 5th to April 15th. Now, Maddie's going to be joined by two other hosts. One is Julie from Pages and Pens, and the other one is Allie from Allie Cover Books. I believe that's how you pronounce her channel. I'm not quite sure though. There's a host of challenges, and all the challenges can pretty much be combined into one book if you want it to be, which I think is really awesome. It's a decent length of readathon, which I like as well. So now I'm just going to go into the challenges and what books I'm going to be reading. The first challenge is read a diverse fantasy. Now, I picked Descendant of the Crane by Joan He, and granted, I actually don't really know what this book is about. I won this book in a pre-order giveaway, and I actually have seen it hyped up a lot on book Twitter and the blog sphere of books. I'm kind of glad I'm going into it blind. However, there has been an issue, I guess, with the publishing date. It's been pushed back, so I do wonder if I am going to get that book on time. If I'm not going to get that book on time, that's okay, because I do have another book to complete this challenge if that's the case. And that is Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn. And this is a superhero fantasy novel following this gal named Evie, and she works as an assistant to this lady, and I guess her boss finds out about her powers, and so there's all kinds of shenanigans that go on. And this is the first in a series, so I do have the second book, so if I do like this first book, I'm probably going to jump right on to the second one. The next challenge is read a debut or a backlist title. Now, granted, as said before, it's easy to stack up these challenges, but I did pick a specific book for this challenge. It is a backlist book that I have, and it is Helen and Troy's Epic Road Quest by A. Martinez. I really love A. Martinez's writing. He is very funny in his narratives, and oftentimes it's just craziness that happens, which I love. Helen and Troy are in modern times, and they're cursed by a god, and they have to, dodge orc assassins. It just sounds, as it says on the title, epic. The next challenge is start a new series or read on in a series. Now for this one, I picked read on in a series, and the one that I picked is Wolf Hunting by Jane Linskald. This is the 5th book in the Firekeeper series. It follows this gal who was raised by magical wolves. It's really hard to explain and to make it sound not kind of odd. It's a really good book, though. It's a really good series. This is the 5th one. I'm so I should have gotten to this far sooner, but I'm glad to be getting to it now, and I'm really excited about it. Jane Linskald just manages to write such a compelling world. The next challenge is read a hype train fantasy, and the one that I chose for this, weirdly enough, didn't get a lot of hype on BookTube itself, at least that I saw, but it more got on for the blogs, like book blogs and book Twitter. And that is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames. A group of retired mercenaries get back into the game, and, weird stuff happens. I'm noticing a theme of shenanigans and craziness ensue, but I love it so much. I heard that it's just really funny and well written. I'm really excited to read this. Once I finish with Kings of the Wild, I'm probably going to buy Bloody Rose, which I believe is the next one in the series. The next challenge is finish a fantasy book you started but didn't finish, but I might get a lot of side eye for this. And that's The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. This is the first in the Wheel of Time series. Granted, when I first tried to read this, I wasn't really in a good place for reading. I wasn't reading a lot. And then I tried to read this chunky monkey of a book, and it was rough to get through. It had been a while since I read an old style fantasy book. We're talking 90s fantasy novels, which can be pretty lengthy and sometimes really slow going, and that's what I remember when I first tried to read this book. Is the pacing is incredibly slow, and that can be due to a lot of things. That's not a bad thing in fantasy whatsoever, but I remember just at the time it just was not what I needed for reading. So I'm going to be trying this again. There is a Wheel of Time read-along going on, which is month by month, and this is kind of going to be playing catch up to that a little bit. I'm going to try and get this done through this readathon so that I can jump right onto the next book in the series, and so on and so forth. I suppose I should say if I like the book, then I'll do that. I'll probably do it anyway. The next challenge is read a fantasy in a genre/format that you don't normally read in. And I don't have a book picked out for this yet. There's not a lot of fantasy genres I don't read. I typically read pretty much all of them. Like, let's see, romantic fantasy, grimdark fantasy, urban fantasy, maybe historical fantasy? I don't really know. So as far as genre goes, there's not really one I can think of off the top of my head. And as far as format goes, it'll probably be in something like audiobook file, or if I can find like a book of poetry in fantasy form, or a book of fantasy poetry, that would be really cool. But I don't want to buy more books for this readathon. That's a little odd to say. I'm always down for buying more books, but I don't want to buy a new book quite yet, or just for a readathon, because I have so many books that I really need to get through and really need to, make a dent in before I buy something else. So I'm not quite sure which one that will be. I have a feeling it's probably going to be audiobook, because I have the Libby app, and that's just going to make it a little bit easier to do. Then the last challenge, I don't really have a book for, and I really don't really know what I'm going to do for this one either. But it's immerse yourself in the story. So one of the examples is, cook something from that was inside the book. Like, type of food that was in the book, you can cook that and make that, or anything to immerse yourself in the story a little bit more. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. I don't. So that's my TBR for Fantasyathon. If you have read any of the books I talked about, please comment down in the description below, or even if you think that you're going to be joining, please let me know. Maybe we can do a read-along or something along those lines. That would be fantastic. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. If you like seeing my face talk about books, hit that subscribe button. And as always and forever, may you get lost in a book.